Welcome crafters, Michelle here. I have my current top 10 Halloween wreaths for you today. In today's crafting adventure, I'm going to share with you my top 10 performing wreaths. This is a great way for you to get those creative juices flowing and to start thinking about Halloween crafting. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make them. To get started on today's ghost wreath, you're going to need one of the 14-inch wreath forms that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. I happen to be using a silver one, but you can use whatever color that you can find in your stores. You're also going to need some pipe cleaners cut in half. And then you will need 6 rolls of their black deco mesh. I have my 2 rolls of mesh open. I have my pipe cleaners and my wreath form. Now we're going to be attaching each of our poofs here to the 2 bars in the center. And in between each of the crossbars, we're going to be putting between 8 to 10 poofs, depending on what type of mesh you're using, how thick it is, if you're doing 3 rolls or 2. Normally I do 8 or 9. If I can get 10, I'll go with 10. So to get this started, you want to take the end of each of the rolls and you scrunch them together. Now you really don't want to layer these. You want these side by side. When you go to open up your poofs, it'll make it much easier for you to do that if you do not layer your mesh. Take your half a pipe cleaner, wrap it around those ends. I always like to pull it down so I can get a nice tight grip there. Pinch and twist. I live next to an airport, so if you can hear that, those are airplanes that are circling so that they can get ready to land. I also have several gardeners in the neighborhood today, so if you hear that, I apologize. So you want to attach that, feed it from the front to the back to one of the crossbars. And then I always like to take my ends and push them to the back. And then I pull them back through the pipe cleaners and twist them down again. This makes sure that those ends will stay to the back. And that way they're tied down twice. And I just take those ends and kind of push them forward. So now you can trim. You just want to leave about 1 inch. Now we're going to be measuring our poofs today at 8 inches. And you want to start measuring here where you attached it to your wreath form. Go out to 8 inches and pinch. Where you pinch, you're going to add a pipe cleaner. Just get it nice and secure to your mesh there. And then you take that and you attach it to the 2 bars there in the center. Put your pipe cleaners on either side, feed from the front to the back. Pull nice and snug, give a twist or 2. And then I like to pull my pipe cleaners together and I push them back forward and slide my bundle over, or my poof, bubble, whatever you would like to call it. I've seen this method called both, depending on how many you put in. Hey, and just remember, each time you do that, you're actually doing 2. So once you get a section done, you can go back and just separate the 2, and then that will fill in your base. So you just continue to measure from wherever you attached your pipe cleaner out 8 inches, pinch, add an additional 1, and attach it. And I'm going to go for 10 poofs in each section. I should be able to get that with an 8-inch poof. Now I have done this method also using 3 rolls. So it works great if you want to do like the 4th of July. It works great. You can do red, white, and blue. And then as you open up and separate, you just have to make sure that you're moving those colors around so you don't end up with a weird stripe. But I really like this method because, like I said, if you have bad mesh, you can still do this. You can get a decent base even with Dollar Tree seasonal mesh. I have my base complete. It took the full 6 rolls, and all I did was go in and pull apart the 2 loops to make it nice and full. Here on the back, you can see I attached everything to the 2 bars here in the center, and by pushing down my pipe cleaners, it leaves it nice and clean in the back. Now this is the time that if you see anything funny coming off on your wreath, you want to trim it. But as you can see, even though that mesh was fraying from the sides, I was able to get a nice base out of it. Now we're going to work on our ribbon bundles. Now I pulled out 3 Halloween ribbons that you can get this year from Dollar Tree. So I have this one, I think it's really cute. Trick or treat, haunted house, boo, happy Halloween. And it has all the Halloween colors on a white background. And I really like this one as well. It says happy Halloween with the spiders and the spider webs. And then the black and white buffalo check. You will want to cut 4 pieces of each ribbon at 11 inches. Now this is what our ribbon bundles are going to be looking like, and you only need to make 4 because we're also going to be making a nice bow. So I have each ribbon cut at 11 inches, and I did go ahead and dovetail the ends there. I'm going to start with this one. I want it in the background. Find the center and scrunch. I'm going to go with this in the middle. And this one on top. Then I just like to crisscross them. Wrap the pipe cleaner there around the center. Pull everything down so I can get a nice tight grip. Pinch and twist. And then I like to style my bundles a little bit before I put them in. Usually grab the base there, and then I just kind of pull them out straight first in the direction I want them to go. If I need to, you can go down and adjust, because right now is the best time to do any adjusting before you get it onto your wreath. Okay, then I kind of grab the bottom and pull down, and then I just kind of work on curling out the tops there. I do my final adjusting, of course, once I get it onto my wreath, but this way I can see if it's going to lay the way that I want it and make sure that all the ribbons are going in the direction I want them to. So you need to make 4. Now the sign that I'm going to be using today is this one. I think it's really cute. It says welcome my pretties, but the only part we're going to be using is this one, and they just have it taped on with ribbon in the back. I'm going to save these 2. I can always use these in another project, but I really like this sign. It's the right size that I was looking for, and welcome always works. Now to get this ready, we're going to attach a couple pipe cleaners here on the back. So I have 2 full-length pipe cleaners. And I'm also going to use a little bit of ribbon. Just be cautious, the hot glue will come through. So I just kind of tap it down. This way my pipe cleaner there is attached not only by the glue, but also by the ribbon that's glued down. Now this is what the wreath kits look like in the store. They come in a little bag, and this is what the packaging looks like. And they show whatever character is here on the wreath. So we're going to be using the ghost. Now the ghost comes in two pieces. You have his bottom half and his top half. And then you have this little silky ribbon is what they give you to attach him to your wreath. Now they are slightly stuffed. Of course you have the option, you can go back in, open them up and stuff them more if you would like, but I'm going to use them just as they come. I have a little bits of stuffing here and there and a little bit of string that I'm going to clean up from the stitching. Then same thing here with the bottom. And the bottom's cute because you can make the tail go to this side or flip it over and have it go to the other side, which is really cute. And we're going to be putting the sign in the middle, kind of like what they did here with their boo sign. I think that looks really cute and makes the ghost look nice and big. So we're going to attach our ghost here onto the back of the sign. Make sure the sign is facing the proper way. And I'm just going to glue him right along the edge here. And I'm going to leave these on that they provided to help me tie everything on. But I want to attach him there, and then I also want to glue on the bottom half. This is going to make it so much easier for me to get everything placed in the correct position, and I'm not going to have to fight. So my ghost is glued to the back of my sign, and now I don't have to worry about trying to get each individual piece in the right position, because this is definitely going to help me. So now let's get this onto our wreath. So I'm just going to take those pipe cleaners, and I'm going to take all the silky little ribbon there and make sure that it goes down kind of inside the hole there, so that I have access to it. Okay. And once you've done that, just work on your placement. Got the cute little arms and everything. So just play with it till you get your positioning. And then the first thing I'm going to attach is my sign, because I want to make sure that sits correctly, and then I'll worry about getting the ghost attached. And I like it right in the middle there. It comes right down to the base here, and the tip goes right up to the top, so he completely covers the length there. So I'm going to get this attached first, so I'm going to take my pipe cleaners, work them through the mesh, and attach it to the wire frame in the back. And then I'll come back and I'll show you the best way to attach your ghost here. I have my sign attached, and I'm happy with its placement. Now on the bottom here, the tie-on ribbons are both at the top, so I fed those through the center here. And now on the bottom, it makes it much easier if you glue down on the back your attachment. Then it's not going to move on you. It'll stay in the correct place. And then you can take the ribbons and fasten it down. This makes it much easier to get it right where you want it. Okay. And then up here at the top, you want to do the same thing, except the ribbons down at the bottom you'll feed through the center. Then the ones here at the top of the hands and the head, you're going to attach from the top. So you'll separate the mesh this way and attach at the top. So again, you want to hot glue this guy down so that he stays where you want him to while you finish attaching. I'm going to tie off my ribbons and then we'll move forward. So I'm attaching my bundles here, and I've decided I want to put my bow down here. So I've left this area open, and I've placed my 3 already, and my 4th one I'm going to do on this side. You just take your pipe cleaners, feed it through the mesh, and attach it to the wire frame. If you need to, make sure to trim your pipe cleaners if they're too long and tuck them. Now I really do like those, but I want to add a little something in the middle, and I have these. I did pick them up from Dollar Tree. Now these 4 came out of 2 packages. You only get 2 of the orange with the spider webs. They also come with black, so if you just want to use 1 package, then you can mix between the orange and the black. But since I have 4 and that's the only amount of bundles I'm going to do, I'm going to use that. And I want to glue these kind of right in the middle, but I want to do it so that part of that spider web is going to show. So I can't glue it straight down. I need to glue it kind of at the side, and I want to hide this part kind of down in where the ribbon is, so I see that pretty part. I like that because it really helps to keep your ribbon fanned out so you can see all those pretty patterns. Okay, so I'm going to do that to my other 3. I think those look really cute, and I love how they make the ribbon really stand out. Now we're going to work on the bow that I want to put here. We're going to work on the bow now, and I'm going to be using my Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. I do have arthritis in my hands, and it makes it difficult for me to hold on to things, especially large bows. So that's why I like to use this. I did pick it up from Amazon, and you can find it in my Amazon shop. The link is in the description box below. I'm going to be using the same 3 ribbons that I used in the wreath. I'm going to start by measuring my tails at 8 inches, and I'm going to start with the white one. Pinch and twist. Here on my tails, the nice side of the ribbon should be facing up, but once you come through and you go to make your loops for your bow, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing down. Now I'm going to measure 4-inch loops with this ribbon, and I'm going to measure 2 loops on either side. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the buffalo check. Measure my tails at 8 inches and do 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. And again, the same thing with the last ribbon. 8 inches, pinch and twist, and then 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. Okay, Okay, now I have 2 loops on either side. I'm going to add one more loop for my center loop here. I'm going to make it a little smaller, more like 3 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to come back to the other side through the small dowel rod there in the front and the large one. Measure out my tail. Now you can play with your bow while it's still in the bow maker before you tie everything down. I like to kind of just open everything up. Make sure my loops look right. If anything doesn't look right, now's the time to do your adjusting. Take a full length pipe cleaner. You want to slide it down on one side till you get next to your dowel rods. Just like to bring it together. And I kind of push down and pinch. I want to make sure that my bow stays stacked. Then you can lift it out. Take your pipe cleaners, wrap them around the front. Make sure that one little piece from the center loop is on the correct side. Pull nice and snug and pull to the back. And give a twist or two. I always like to hold my bow right in the center there so I don't over pull my loops. And then pull your tails down, open up your loops, and adjust your bow. If your loops are not laying the way that you want them to, just go right down to the center there where they come out, and that's where you want to do your adjusting. Just be cautious. If you're too aggressive, you can pull your loops out. And that's approximately what your bow should look like. Now I'll do my final fluffing and I trim my tails once I get my bow onto my wreath. I'm going to put my bow right down here. I like that. I think that looks really pretty. And to attach that, I just simply take my pipe cleaners, feed them down through the mesh, and attach it onto the wire frame in the back. And here you go. I have everything on my wreath and I think it's absolutely adorable. I think those 3 ribbons go together really nicely and completely set off my ghost and my welcome sign. The only additional thing that I did add is this little guy up here. Now this little pumpkin, I had pulled him off of a previous project that I did last year, and I always keep those. And then I had 2 little pieces of the other 2 ribbon left over, so I cut those, put those in, and then I added him because it needed a little bit of orange in that area and I was out of the other ribbon. But I'm really happy now. I feel like it's nice and balanced, and he's a perfect way to greet your guests this Halloween. To get started, you're going to need 2 of these 3D pumpkin frames that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. You're also going to need a piece of foam board or a piece of cardboard because we're going to extend our stem. Now, if you don't want to extend your stem, you can skip this part. So just place the stem of the pumpkin at the bottom of your piece of foam board or cardboard. Take a pencil and just follow the inside of the stem so you know how big it is. Just like that. Then from here you can design your stem however you want. You can make it as twisty or curly, however you see fit. And just keep working with it until you get it the way that you like it. but just play with it. I kind of like it to look like it's got a piece broken off at the top. In the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to make this beautiful Halloween 3D pumpkin. So then you can place it back on and see. And I like that much better. I think it fits the size of the pumpkin. So you want to go ahead and cut that out. And I usually use my utility knife with a new blade. If you have a good pair of scissors, you can also do that, or whatever else you're most comfortable using. I have my stem all cut out, so it'll fit like that. Next, you're going to want whatever fabric you've chosen. I did pick this up at Walmart. I bought 1 yard, and I really love this print for Halloween, the black background with the candy corns. I will not need a whole yard, but I wanted to make sure I had plenty of space. Like I said, I bought a yard. This was $4.44. I'm sure I will have fabric left over, but I really love this pattern, and that's what I want. When I'm done, I'll give you a better estimate of how much fabric you'll need. And then to secure the two together, you want some zip ties. Now on this, with this fabric, I would prefer black, but all I have right now is white, so that's what I'm going to use. So the first thing you want to do is take whatever fabric that you've chosen. You want to place it over your pumpkin. Make sure that it's covering everything that you need. You want, at least a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of extra fabric on the widest part coming down. Once you think you have it placed, go ahead and place the other pumpkin over the top. Make sure you still have enough fabric on either side. At this point, you can go ahead and cut out a section of the fabric. Now I'm leaving, as you can see, plenty of fabric still all the way around. I don't want to have to cut another piece because I didn't give myself enough leeway. Yes, you can definitely get away with only 1/2 yard of fabric for this. I have plenty left over. That's okay, I can use that on some other crafts. Okay, so now you just kind of want to pull and make sure that you don't have any wrinkles and that it's nice and taut. Make sure the stems match. Once you get it to how you like it, then we're going to start to attach the two frames together, and that's where your zip ties come in. Okay, so the first zip tie I want to put right down here on the bottom. And then I'm just going to use a little kind of needle there at the end of my circumference and poke through. And then run the zip tie through. Pull that to the back. I poked a hole on this side, ran my zip tie through, poked another hole in the fabric on this side so I can wrap it around. Slide my zip tie in and pull that nice and tight, and I want that large nub to be in the back. Now the reason why I did that was I still want to have workability with my fabric. So now that I've placed one here, I'm going to tighten and adjust, and then I'll place one right here at the dip on the top. And there you go. I have one here at the top and one here at the bottom. I have the two secured now. Next, you want to go ahead and work on your sides, pull your fabric and do 2 on either end. And make sure to adjust the fabric each time you add one. I'm going to do that and then I'll be right back. I have all my zip ties on. So next you want to go through and cut off any excess fabric. You need to leave at least an inch so that you can fold it around and glue it down so you have a nice clean finished edge. Once you have everything cut and you have the amount of fabric you need, take those zip ties and pull them all the way down. You want to make sure that that little nut on there, the little square, is firmly in the back. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and trim those. They're all nice and trimmed. This is another chance to adjust your poofing and get it more smooth as you go around and tack down the edge. Just do a little bit at a time. And then see, I can pull the fabric around on the side and continue to glue all the way around until you get your fabric tacked down like that. I am just finishing up attaching my fabric, and I wanted to show you what I found was the easiest way. And you want to place just a small bead of glue across a small section first. Then you'll grab your fabric and you pull it nice and taut and pull over and get it glued down, and then you go back and you can tuck it. So lay down your bead of hot glue for a small section at a time. Pull and adjust and pull over. Just like that. Continue and finish your section, and then you can go back and I fold down and then glue it down. And right here on the bars is where you can add a little bit of extra glue to hold that down. I also put a little bit on the fold. This will help make the back look a little cleaner as you work. See how nice it looks all folded in? Okay, I'm going to finish this last little bit and then we'll come back and move forward. There you go. I have everything attached. I'm really happy. I think it looks so pretty. The next thing we're going to do is extend our stem. So I'm going to take my piece of foam board, or if you use cardboard, and I'm going to slide it right down the center between the two frames, just like that. And then I'm going to use hot glue to attach that. I will glue it down here on the base and wherever it connects with the metal. Okay, so I'm going to let this glue set up, then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now while you're attaching your stem, you're also going to want to add a piece of jute cord. This is what you're going to use to hang it. You want to make sure that it is run through the wire and not just wrapped around the cardboard, okay? And then you can also hot glue that in place to make sure that it doesn't move. I'm going to hot glue the back here and then we'll be back. So I have my stem glued on. I have my extra piece of jute cord here to hang it with. Next, we're going to go ahead and wrap the stem. And to wrap the stem, I'm going to use some nautical rope. I want this stem to look really rustic and spooky because it is for Halloween. Okay, so I opened up my nautical rope and I'm going to start here on the back. Add some hot glue all the way across and lay the end of the rope in. Now you can also wrap this in jute cord if you want. It will take you a long time because this is quite a big stem, but that's up to you. If you want to use more of the jute cord rather than rope, that's fine. That will also work. Just here in the front, you want to make sure to add some glue and lay it in that you get that nice little dip so that the stem is fully covered. And just be patient and work your way and wrap all the way up to the very tip. Tack down where you need to get it to lay properly. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my stem. So I got my stem covered, and I did remember to leave out my hanger. Now I've covered all the way up to the tip, including the tip part. Now I'm just going to go and continue to wrap it back down, but I'm just going to do it really loosely just to add a little bit more texture. So now I've loosely wrapped back down and glued it on the back here. So now I'm just going through and tacking down and making sure that it stays where I want it once I adjust it. Just need to add a small amount of glue so it stays in place. There you go. I think the stem looks awesome. It looks very rustic and rough, like it should for Halloween. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. I want to add some leaves to my pumpkin. Now these I picked up last year from Dollar Tree. They are the correct color combination that I'm looking for, but I want to make them a little darker and a little more Halloween-y. So I'm going to use some dark black paint, or this is called pavement. But it looks pretty black to me. You'll want to use a brush that has a strong bristle, and preferably if it's uneven, that's even better. We're going to do the dry brush method. I'll show you here on one of the red ones. Just get a little bit onto your brush, tap off any extra, and then I'm going to start just by going around the edges and adding some of the pavement. And then just kind of brush it through so it darkens up the edges just like that. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way around my leaf. Now once you get all the way around your leaf, you can go back and add in some veining on the leaf. Just follow where you would see normal veining on a leaf. And again, just tap it in. It doesn't need to be perfect. You want it to have that rustic look. And then just brush. You can also, where the creases are, pull that in a little bit. Then just play with it until you get it to look the way you like. you go. I think that looks really pretty. It brings out the leaf and gives it some dimension. Now I'm going to do 2 of the brown leaves, 1 in the red and 1 in the orange to start with. If I need to, I can always add more, but I think 4 leaves are going to be plenty. I'm going to go ahead and distress my leaves, and then I'll come back and we'll move forward. So I've distressed all my leaves. Now we're going to start to attach them. And I'm going to start with my red and a brown leaf. And I want them to overlay like this. I'm going to lay them on top of each other. And then I'm going to twist the stems, which are wire, so that they stay on top of each other like that. So just give it a twist a couple times so that they stay together. And then I want them to lay out on the side. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to push them through. See, I just pushed it through the edge of one of the pieces of rope. And then since it's on a wire, I can just bend it until I get it to lay the way that I want. I actually want it over on this side. I think that looks good. Just push through for right now. It's just wrapped around. I'm going to do the same thing with this one, but this time I'm going to put the brown up at the top and the orange one lower. Lay them on top and then twist the ends. Go to the other side and then poke it through the rope area. However you can get it in there. Want you to come out this way. There we go. Okay, so that's how my leaves look. And then the ends are just wrapped around the back. Now I'm going to take the little sharp ends and feed it back into the rope, and then I'll glue them down. Now I'm going to put a bow on using some of this natural raffia that I picked up at Dollar Tree. It came in 3 different colors. I'm going to be using the brown. I just pulled out a bunch, and all I'm going to do is wrap it around the base here. Tie a knot. And then make a bow. Just like you're tying your shoelaces. And then you just need to play with it until you get it to the way you like it. So I wrapped my raffia around and tied my bow. Now I'm just kind of grabbing the loops and pulling them apart. I'm pulling the little tails down and cutting them so that they're the length that I want. If they're a little too long, just give them a little snip. And I want it to look messy. I don't want it to look like a clean bow. So I'm happy with that. Now I picked up one of these Halloween picks from Dollar Tree this year, and I thought it was really cool. I have taken the little black skull off and the little
balls and, I don't know, stems. And then I've also cut up the 2 larger maple leaves. Now I'm going to save these guys for another project. And I'm going to attach these to the top of my wreath here. First thing I'm going to attach is my little skull guy. Now you don't need a very long stem, only about 1 inch. Add some hot glue. And then I'm going to place him right on top here, and I'm just going to kind of stick him into the rope. You can also stick him into the raffia to get him into the place that you want. And then behind that, I'm going to place the little berries and the twigs. Just add some hot glue to your stem. And then get it placed. See, I think that looks really cute. Next, I'm going to glue in these maple leaves that are black. And I'm just going to kind of tuck them underneath the bow here. From this point, you can just kind of play with it and add whatever you have on hand or what you can find. Just try to keep your color tones close to the same, things that go together. I think that looks really nice. Now the last thing that I'm going to add are some of these orange berries. These I picked up from Walmart. They were 97 cents for a stem. I know that Dollar Tree does carry in some of their stores the berry picks. If you can find them in the orange, great. If not, you can go to Walmart. They have them. And I'm just going to snip off, leave a small stem, probably do maybe 3. Just add some hot glue and then place them where you like. And there you go. I think that is the perfect touch. I really like that bright orange. And I'm just going to go through and clean up my glue strings here and readjust my bow if I need to. And there you go. We're all done. Now I think those bright orange berries were the perfect touch to finish it off. They match the orange and the candy corn.
To get started on today's project, you're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up at Dollar Tree and some pipe cleaners. Now we're going to change the wire wreath form here into a working wreath form, and all that means is that we're going to be attaching the pipe cleaners to the wreath form. Now you want to attach a pipe cleaner on the 2 bars here at the crossbar in the center, and 1 on the crossbar here on the 2 bars on the outside. And then in between the 2 crossbars on the 2 bars on the outside, you also want to place a pipe cleaner. So just wrap your pipe cleaner around, get it even, pull it nice and snug, and give a twist or 2. And then all of my pipe cleaners that are on the inside, I just pull towards the center. All the ones that I put here on the outside, I pull to the outside. You just want to repeat that pattern all the way around. When you're finished, you should have a total of 18 pipe cleaners attached to your wreath form. The mesh that we're going to be using today is 10 inches by 10 yards. I picked this up from Hobby Lobby. I have a full roll and a half a roll. And this is Poly Pro mesh ribbon. It is weatherproof. And I usually pick up my mesh when it's on sale, either 40 or 50% off. Now to get our base started, we're going to do the poof method, and then we're going to go back in and fill in with ribbon and curls. On my wreath ring here on the pipe cleaners around the center ring, I went ahead and pulled up. We're going to start attaching our mesh here to the center ring. So you want to take the end of your mesh, scrunch it up, and then you take the end and add it to one of the pipe cleaners here in the center. Just make sure you get it nice and snug. You don't want it to pull out while you're working on it. And then we're going to be measuring our poofs here at 10 inches, and you want to start to measure right here where you attached it. Go out to 10 inches and pinch, and then where you pinched, you go to the next pipe cleaner and you set that in and give a nice twist. You're going to continue this all the way around the center until you get back to the pipe cleaner that you started with. I'm back where I started, and now I'm going to move down to the outside ring. And I'm just going to drop from this pipe cleaner to the one directly below it. Measure your poofs at 10 inches and move around the outside of the ring, hitting every pipe cleaner. Now I've gone around the inside and the outside. Next, you just need to go through and open up each of your poofs. You also want to pull those pipe cleaners so that they're standing up so you can easily find them. We're going to be adding a lot more to the base yet. Look at how much nicer it looks just by opening up those poofs. Now, as you can see, I have a good half roll of the color that I used to do the poof method. And then this is the half roll. Now these two I'm going to use to cut into strips at about 10 inches, and this is what we're going to fill in with the curl method to make the base nice and thick. So cut what's left of your roll plus a half a roll into strips at 10 inches. I have all my mesh cut into strips at 10 inches, and now I'm going to work on my ribbon. So I have this ribbon that I picked up at Dollar Tree, 2.5 inches at 3 yards. It is their faux orange burlap. And then I also have this ribbon that I picked up at Craft Outlet. It's by Really Good Ribbon. And this is 1.5 inches at 10 yards. I will include a photo of the item number here. You need to cut 12 strips of each ribbon at 11 inches and dovetail their ends. I have all my ribbon and my mesh cut. I'm ready to put together my bundles now. I like to use my bow dabber to put together my bundles. I do have arthritis in my hands, and it makes it difficult for me to hold things, especially when I'm dealing with a large bow or large bundles. So I love this machine. You can find it in my Amazon shop, and the link is in the description box below. You will need one piece of each of the mesh cut at 10 inches. Now you needed to cut the rest of the roll of mesh that we used to do the base and half a roll of another. You should be able to get a minimum of 18 pieces between the two rolls. Anything above that, you just want to mix in evenly throughout the bundles. I was able to get enough to put 2 curls in each bundle, so that's what I'm going to do. We're going to be doing 2 different bundles, one with ribbon and one without. You just want to do a nice loose curl. If your curl is too tight, the end will stick out and that will actually cause it to fray more. So you're looking for a nice clean curl. And when I put them in here, I always try to put the cut end or the cut side towards the bottom. And then I also like to kind of crisscross it. So I have my mesh in, and now I'm going to add 1 piece of each ribbon and just find the center and scrunch. And again, I'm going to crisscross. I just love those 2 ribbons together, so pretty. I love the vintage print on this one. So I have my ribbon and my curls crisscrossed. Now I've started to add my bundles here on my inner ring. Now every pipe cleaner on the inner ring will get ribbon. Okay, so I have my last one here on my inner ring. I have it open and I'm going to place my bundle. Now when you place your bundles, you want to place them side by side like this. You don't want to place them this way. If you place them this way, what happens is you end up getting a lot of deco mesh clumped up right in the center, and then you don't have a really thick base all the way around. So you want to make sure that when you place them in that they are side by side. Pull nice and snug and give a couple twists. Now it's up to you. You can trim and tuck your pipe cleaners. On this one, I'm going to leave them. I have a little dowel rod here, and I'm just going to take those and wrap them around so that they're nice and curly. And I'm going to actually just use them as a decorative piece. I like that little bit of extra sparkle. It kind of goes with the sign that we're going to be using. So I just kind of curl them down and then just lift them up in the center. And then I do kind of the same thing with my ribbon. I like to lift it up and then kind of bend it outwards so that you can see that ribbon really well. So now I've done every pipe cleaner around the center and I have added ribbon. Now we're going to move to the outer ring. And on the outer ring, you're going to add ribbon every other one. So on the ones that are directly across from where you already have ribbon, you're just going to add your deco mesh. And then the next one, which is in between, that's where you're going to add your ribbon. So you'll do every other one as you work your way around the outside. So this first one right here that's directly across from the inner ring that has ribbon, I'm only going to put the mesh. And then on the ones that I don't have ribbon, I am going to trim my pipe cleaners, push those in so they're facing the back. I have my wreath base complete and I'm very happy with it. I just really love that bright orange ribbon with this vintage print ribbon. It looks so beautiful together. Absolutely gorgeous. Nice, thick, and full. Here on the back, on one of the crossbars, I did go ahead and add a pipe cleaner and a loop to hang it. This is what we're going to be using for our sign today. Isn't that adorable? I really love that vintage cat. Now I found this at Dollar Tree. It actually comes as a garden stake, and I believe they have 3 or 4 different vintage ones that you can choose from. Any of those would work. They would all go very well with the ribbon. But I love it. The ribbon also has a cat, it has a witch, and it has a pumpkin, so it would go really well with any of those. And I love the separate piece that says welcome. I just turned it over and then pressed, and it popped right off of the stake. So I usually keep these in case I need them for a future craft. But let's get this ready to go onto our wreath. Now this does have a hole up here at the top, so I'm going to be using some floral wire. I pulled out some black floral wire that I had. I'll add that here. And then on the back, I'm also going to add 4 pipe cleaners onto my kitty here and 2 pipe cleaners onto my welcome. Add in a dollop of glue, place in your pipe cleaner. And then I always like to put a little bit over the top to make sure that's nice and secure. I have all my pipe cleaners and my floral wire on both pieces of my sign. My glue has fully set up, so we are ready to get these attached to our wreath. Now I want to put the kitty head on first, and I want it in the middle, but I want it a little higher than center. I'm thinking right about there, just above center. And then right below that, I want to put the welcome. I think that will look absolutely adorable. Very cute. Now to get these attached, you just take your pipe cleaners and the floral wire, you feed it through your mesh, and you attach it to the wire wreath form on the back. Now I have both pieces of my sign on, my cute little black cat and my welcome. I'm really happy with their placement. Now there's one more item I would like to add. I don't feel that there's quite enough black. So I pulled out 2 packages here of the ornaments that you can get at Dollar Tree in the Halloween section. And this one you get 3 black and then 2 that are like eyeballs. I'm just going to be using the black. So I have 2 packages, so I have 6 of the black. I really like that. I think this is going to be the perfect final addition. And then to glue these in, you want to put your glue right around here where you would normally hang it, and that is what you're going to nestle into your wreath. I usually like to play with my placement. Once I have my placement down, then I go ahead and glue in the ornaments. Just get a good amount of glue on there and make sure that it gets good contact with your mesh, so you get good adhesion. I'm going to glue in my final elements, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And there you go, we are all done. I am so pleased with the end result on this beautiful Halloween wreath. I love the colors, it's so bright and festive. And I think the glitter ball ornaments were the perfect final addition to finish off this wreath. It needed just a little bit more black. To get started on our Halloween wreath, you will need a 14-inch wreath form, some pipe cleaners cut in half. Then you're also going to need some Dollar Tree deco mesh. We're going to start with 9 rolls of their black deco mesh, and then you will need 1 roll of their white deco mesh. Cut all 10 rolls of your mesh into strips at 15 inches. Each package should give you 12 pieces of mesh. I have 3 rolls of my mesh cut into strips at 15 inches, and I got exactly 12 cuts out of each roll, which is perfect. Now for each bundle, we're going to make nice big bundles, so we're going to put 3 rose bundles per bundle. And to do that, it's similar to my folded ruffle method, where you take the 2 ends and you cover them so they're folded over each other by about 1 inch. So you make a tube, you press that down so that's in the center, then you come down to the bottom here, you make sure everything is lined up, and then you fold in by about 1/2 inch. And then you continue to fold as you move across. You just need to make sure that the pieces there stay. And it should take you about 4 times. So as you can see, all of those cut ends are rolled and folded in. And I'm going to use my bow dabber here. I love this machine, not necessarily for making bows, but when I make my bundles, it holds everything for me. I have arthritis, so it does make it a little difficult. If you don't have a bow maker, you can always use a clip. If you're interested in getting a bow maker, I purchased this from Amazon. I do have a link in my associate shop, and you can find that in the description box below. So that's the first one. We're going to add 3 to this before we tie it together. So I'll show you again. 15 inches. Now you don't have to do 15 inches every time. I've also done this cutting it at 12 inches, but I wanted it to stand out and be a little bit longer for this wreath, so that's why I'm cutting it at 15. Fold the ends over themselves by about 1 inch or so. Press down, go to one end, make sure everything lines up, and fold over by 1/2 inch, and then fold all the way across. It should take about 4 folds, and then stick that in. One more time. You'll want to do this method with both your black and white mesh. You'll need 1/2 a pipe cleaner. Just kind of fold it in half. Lift it out, wrap it around. I always like to pull it down so I can get a nice tight grip, pinch and twist. And that is what your bundle will look like. And you can see there that it looks like a little rosebud on the ends, and that is why I named it the Rose Bundle Method. Now to attach this to your wreath, you want to attach it to the 2 bars here in the center. And in each section, and a section is between the 2 crossbars, you'll place 6 bundles. So you just open up your pipe cleaners, feed it from the front to the back around those 2 center bars. Pull it nice and snug and give a twist or 2. Then I always like to pull together my ends, and I push them back forward. Slide my bundle over, and then go ahead and add my next one. By pushing those pipe cleaners forward, it keeps my back looking nice and clean. It gives a very professional finish, yet it still looks like a handmade wreath. And from the front, you're not going to see those pipe cleaners at all. But look at how pretty the base is. And very little to no fraying with this method, even using Dollar Tree seasonal mesh. Now if you're new to wreath making and you are used to using Dollar Tree mesh and you've struggled, you'll want to check my playlist under tips and tricks for beginners and check out how to work with Dollar Tree mesh, my updated and revised version that will give you all the information you need to work with Dollar Tree mesh and have a beautiful finish. I'm going to finish my base here. I'll come back and we will move forward. I have my base complete and I'm very happy. Now I want to explain to you how I added in my white mesh. So all the way around until I got to my last two sections, I placed in 6 bundles of just the black mesh. When I got down to my last 2 sections here, right on the crossbar, I put 1 white bundle on the 2 bars in the middle and 1 white bundle on the 2 bars closest to the center. And then I put 1 white bundle on either side on the center 2 bars. Then with the black, I filled in 5, so there's still 6 bundles in this section on the 2 bars in the center. And then on the 2 bars closest to the center, I added a black bundle on either side of the white. Then when you turn it over, you can see you get kind of a triangle there, and that's what I wanted with the white. Now his face is going to go here in the center, so this is kind of like his outfit. This is his shirt, and then you know he has that black large collar. That is what this represents in his face. So we're also going to do a cute little bow right here. Now to do his face, I'm going to be using one of the 8-inch wood rounds that I have. Now I picked up several of these from Amazon. You can find them in my associate shop on Amazon. You can find the link in the description box below. Now if you don't want to buy a package of several of these, Dollar Tree also has these stovetop covers, and the small one is the same size, that is 8 inches round. So if you only want to buy one, you can buy this and use the metal. I have done that before and they do paint up just fine. But for today, I'm going to be using my 8-inch wood round. So let's get a good coat of white paint here on our wood round. I'm going to be using Apple Barrel's matte white acrylic paint. Now I wanted to add a really cute little bow tie, and I found this ribbon. I picked it up at papermart.com, and I absolutely love the black and silver stripes. This reminds me of his outfit that he wears. You want to cut a piece of ribbon at about 14 inches, and this is 2.5 inches in width. I'm just going to do a very basic bow. So you bring the 2 ends, cover them over themselves by about 1 inch. Push down to find the center, turn it over, and then go ahead and scrunch it right down the center. And pinch. Take your pipe cleaner, wrap it around to the back. Make sure you're in the center. Always like to pull down. Pinch tight and twist. A very basic and super cute little bow tie. Now I'm probably going to put some form of embellishment here in the center. I haven't decided which one I want to use yet, but I absolutely love it. That's going to look gorgeous on our Jack Skellington wreath. My wood round is all nice and dry, and I'm happy with the coat. It only took 1 good coat. Now I have my reference piece here, which I found on the internet. I just searched for Jack's face and this came up. I took it and put it in my Word file and sized it to the size I needed. So his face will fit perfectly on this size round. If you're in my Facebook group, Michelle Smith Creations, in the file area, I will upload a Word file and a PDF file with this print for you. So now we're going to work on transferring the image over. And to do that for today, I'm going to use some tracing paper. Now I've already laid the tracing paper over and went over my image. And I also went over the outside of the head because I think I might want to add that. Now the only thing about this method to do this is that you're going to get the reverse image, because then you turn it over and you can place it over your piece. I like this because I can get it perfectly centered to where I want it. Press down and then just trace over it again, and the charcoal will transfer and leave you an image so that you can paint it in. So once you get your image centered and you're happy with it, make sure that it's on all the way around. Then you can start to retrace. And it's best if you start at one end and then work your way over. You're not going to end up smearing anything. It'll help you keep it lined up as well. So I'm going to go over the outside of the head here because I want to see that shape. I don't want a really perfectly round head on him. And there you go. I have a really nice image that I've transferred over. I have some apple black matte, and that's what I'm going to use to fill in the features here on my face. And I have a small detail brush and a larger brush to do the larger areas. And I'm not going to work on the outside of the face yet. I'm just going to do the features, and I'm going to start on one side and work my way down so I don't put my hand in. Now don't worry too much if you don't get a really clean line around the edge. A little trick I have is you can take a Sharpie and go through and clean up your lines just a little bit with that. But I really like that. I love that very black flat look. I'm going to finish doing my face, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to work on doing the outside here, because I really want the shape of his head to stay the same. So I have filled in the face, and I wanted to show you what it looks like before I do this outer ridge. Now I'm going to go in and fill in so I get a better shape here on my head. Much better, just putting that little bit of black trim around the edge. My face is dry, and I'm really happy with the result. But here you can see the difference between doing the black around the face and not. Now that it's dry, I have a regular Sharpie here. This will help me go in and clean up anything that doesn't look right to me. Like if I didn't get it smooth enough, I can just go over and clean up the line, and no one will know. Once you're happy with it, then we're going to attach some pipe cleaners here in the back. And I want to put one in each of the 4 corners. This will make it nice and steady, and I can make sure I get it placed exactly where I want. Start by placing some hot glue down. I always like to top it off. And when I'm only using pipe cleaners, I like to use a piece of ribbon now as well. This just gives it a little bit more security. You just kind of place that over the top. Just be cautious not to burn yourself. Tap it in. This way the pipe cleaner is attached not only by the hot glue, but it's also attached by the glued down ribbon. Now I'm going to do that in each of the 4 corners, let that fully set up, and then we'll get it attached to our wreath. So let's get our face and our bow on. Ah, I love it. So you can see I have all 4 of my pipe cleaners on, and they're nice and sturdy. And I want to put his face, of course, right here in the center. Doesn't that look good? And then we're going to put his bow, his little bow tie here, right down in front, where the white is, like that. Isn't that cute? Now to get these attached, you just take your pipe cleaners, you open up that mesh once you have the placement, you feed it down until you can get to the wire frame in the back there, and you attach it to the wire frame. You can attach it anywhere on the wire frame that you need to get your face to sit in the proper position. I have my face and bow on, and I kind of puffed up my bow. Doesn't that look adorable? He is so nicely dressed. Now, I did want to put a little icon or a little embellishment there, and I have this adorable little toothpick that has a bat on it. Just take the toothpick, kind of turn it around, and it comes right out. And I think that's the perfect little embellishment to go there. Very cute. Now I really like this, but it's not quite done for me. And I bought these last year, but I looked online, they're going to have them again this year, and they are just some Halloween picks. Now this is the flat black and white. They also had fuzzy ones last year. And it's up to you if you want to use the whole pick and have them sticking out away from the wreath. You can do that. But I think I want them a little closer to home, so I'm going to actually cut them off. I'm going to leave the little wire here on the back. I think that's going to help me to glue these in. I do have 3 stems. You get 3 pumpkins on each stem. And I'm going to start with 2, and if I need more, I do have a 3rd one. So let me get these prepped. Now on each stem you get 1 large pumpkin and 2 smaller pumpkins. So just play with your placement. I want them to kind of sit at an angle coming out but yet still up, so that when someone walks up to the door they'll be able to see it. And they're quite striking, so I really don't think I need too many. And if your pumpkin has anything weird like this one, the fabric didn't quite come over, so I just put a little bit of hot glue, pushed it down. That'll face towards the wreath when I glue it in, and it'll probably help attach to the wreath. Okay. So just play with your placement. Once you're happy with the placement, go ahead and glue them in. I left the little wire on there to help me get it glued in. So add some glue. If you have a glue skillet, you can use that as well. Feed that down. And then to get the placement correctly, once you have it, add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of the pumpkin and nestle it into the mesh. Very nice. I'm going to get the rest of my pumpkins glued in, and then I'll show you the finished product. And here you go. I have all of my pumpkins on. I did use all 3 of the pumpkin picks that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And like I said, I looked online. They are carrying them again this year. But look at how adorable and striking this black and white Jack Skellington wreath is. I had so much fun pulling this together.
To get started, you're going to need several packages of the Dollar Tree's mesh tubing. You will need 3 packages in green, 3 packages in orange, 3 in black, and 3 in purple, for a total of 12 packages. You'll also need one of the 14-inch wire wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. And then you're also going to need a yardstick. Go ahead and open up all your tubing and find the ends. And when you take your tubing out of a package, it's going to have this. You want to hold it together and go ahead and snip that off. That is keeping it from getting tangled. And you just want to find the end and pull some out. You're also going to need a bunch of pipe cleaners cut in half. Go ahead and grab the ends of your deco mesh. Bring them together, okay? Gently pull them out and measure at 28 inches. If you pull tight, the mesh tubing stretches out and then you won't have an accurate measurement. So you want them to be loose. Okay, so you want to hold the ends in one hand like that. And then what I do to make it easy for me is I take the pipe cleaner, I put it underneath, and then I hold it between these 2 fingers. Then you want to grab your mesh. You're going to make a loop and pull forward and make another loop, and then another loop. So you will have like a double bow. Then I pull the bottom pipe cleaner up to meet the top one, and then pull it tight and give it a twist. And then that's what your bundle looks like. Sometimes when you're folding them back and forth, one of the ends will be really long. Just go in and find that loop and pull. If you don't know which loop it is, grab the end that's long and pull until you see it move. Then you know which one, and you can pull it in. Okay, I'll show you again. So grab those ends and pull them together. Then loosely measure out to 28 inches. So I hold the ends between my thumb and my finger. Then I take a pipe cleaner, feed it underneath, and secure it between these 2 fingers. And then I make a loop and bring it back over itself. Make another loop. Pull it back, another loop. And then the final one, I bring the ends in. Now you can adjust it a little bit while it's in your hand if you need to, if one of the ends comes out too long. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then I just pull that bottom pipe cleaner up and around so that it meets the other one. And then I pull tight. And if I need to adjust it a little bit to get it in the middle, I do it then, and then just grab and twist. And then you get these little bundles. And those are your little bundles. Then when you go to attach it to your wreath, you're going to be attaching it to the 2 bars in the middle. And for each section, which is between each crossbar, it will take 8 to 9 bundles. And you can see how pretty it looks. This is 2 sections, and 4 packages like this will cover 2 sections. Okay, so then to attach your bundles, go ahead and push them up on either side of those 2 bars in the middle. Pull it together and twist. And then I just take those ends and I push them down, and then push over, and then keep adding your bundles. And 8 to 9 of these bundles will make it very full. So I have the base all done. I'm really happy with how it came out. I did go ahead and put 8 bundles in each section, except for one, I was able to squeeze in 9. But for the most part, 8 bundles is plenty. These are really big bundles, so it makes it nice and full. To clean this up, I just kind of look at it, and sometimes some of the cut ends will stick out a little further than I wanted. So I just kind of went around and trimmed those back if anything was sticking out too far. And then also in the center. That way my wreath looks a little bit more cohesive. So I'm very happy with that. So I picked up this sign from the Dollar Tree. I really like the colors that are in it. I like that it has the really bright green, the purple, the orange, and the black, all the same colors that are in the wreath. So I'm going to be using this sign. And I really like this bright green on the outside, but I don't like that they're loose. So I'm going to fix that. I'm simply going to turn my sign over. I'm going to get that so that it's hanging and in the right position. And then I'm going to use some craft sticks and hot glue, because I want this to not swing or move the centerpiece. So this way it will hold the centerpiece so it won't move on me. So you want to make sure this fully sets up before we attach it. And we're also going to be attaching 2 pipe cleaners. Now I'm going to attach those on the outside here. Just lay down some glue and place your pipe cleaner in it. And top it off with a little bit more glue. Okay, and then I'm also going to use a piece of floral wire, and I'm going to run it through the hole at the top here where the hanger was to hang the sign. You just want to pull out about 10 to 12 inches. And then I thread it through the hole. And then I pull one part over the top and one through the hole, and then I grab real tight and twist. Now the reason why I've started to do the floral wire is because if you have extreme weather where you live, whether it gets really cold or it gets really hot, that can affect the hot glue, and it can make it get loose and fall off. If it's really hot, it'll melt and things will slide off. So this way I'm guaranteed that regardless if it gets too hot or too cold, the sign's not going to fall off because of the floral wire. Okay, so go ahead and let your glue completely set up, and then we'll get it attached to the wreath. So I have my sign attached. I went ahead and fed the floral wire through first and attached the top to make sure that I had the positioning up and down correct. And then I attached the two pipe cleaners on the side. Now you don't want to tighten them down until you get your sign placed exactly where you want it, and then go ahead and tighten it down so it doesn't move. Now on this sign, if it bothers you that you can see a little bit of those craft sticks, you can always paint that area black before you attach them, and then you won't see them at all. It doesn't bother me that there's a little bit there. If you can't find this sign, the Dollar Tree carries several other signs that have the same color tones, and that's what you're looking for. Something that has the black, the orange, the green, and the purple in it.
Into an adorable monster wreath for Halloween. Let me show you how to make it. For today's project, you're going to need one of the pumpkin wreath forms. You can get these at Dollar Tree. If you have two, that's even better. That'll help you make it, but you really only need one wreath form for the project. And then you're also going to need some fuzzy material. Now you can choose whatever color you like. I found this on Amazon, and I bought a bigger piece because I wasn't sure if the piece that was smaller was going to work or not. I will let you know once I get it cut out. But isn't that beautiful? It has long fur. This is going to make an adorable monster. And they had so many different colors. If you want to go red, pink, purple, whatever color, blue. But I wanted to go with the green. That's what I was feeling. And this is olive. I didn't want the kind of lime green. I didn't want them to confuse it with the Grinch. So I went with olive, and I like this color actually better for Halloween. Now I have all of my little clips from Dollar Tree. That's also going to help me. So the first thing is I want to get my base covered. And this is where the second wreath form comes in, because I can place it over the top. And then I can make sure I'm going to have enough fabric to wrap that around. As you can see, I do have a good amount of extra fabric. I was worried about the width, but once I get this down and I get it cut out, I will measure it for you so you know exactly how big of a piece you're going to need. And I want to make sure I have enough fabric all the way around first. I flipped it over. I can see a little bit better this way. So I just need to make sure that I have enough fabric that I can fold it around the frame. And then I'm just going to clip it with some clips to hold it in place while I glue it down. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used in today's project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it will also let you know where I purchased the materials. I have everything clipped down. It's nice and secure. I have enough of the material to be able to wrap around everything that I need. So I'm ready to cut it out. Now as you're cutting with your scissors, you want to keep both blades very close to the material so you don't cut a lot of the hair. I'm just going to give myself a good berth here. Okay, the little corners you want to keep, we're going to be using those. I trimmed everything out. I left a good inch all the way around. Now right here at the stem, I'm also going to trim on either side of the stem so I can pull that piece down in between. And now I can start to attach it, and I'm just going to run some hot glue right over the top of the bar there and pull the fabric over. Then just slowly work your way all the way around the wreath, attaching your fabric. Just do small sections at a time and be cautious not to burn yourself. Just pull so it's nice and snug. If you need to, you can always go back and trim off if you have a little excess fabric. And you have a beautifully wrapped pumpkin wreath form. That method works great regardless of what type of fabric you're going to use, but look at that. Okay, now before I move any further, I want to add my hanger, and I'm just going to use a full-length pipe cleaner. I'm going to be covering the stem, so I need to get this on here now. Okay, so I'm adding one end to this side and the other end I'm going to attach to this side. I'm just simply taking that pipe cleaner, wrapping it around, and then twisting. Okay, so I have a nice loop. That's what we're going to be using. Now, if you want to, if you feel there's too much stuff going on back here, feel free to get in there and cut it. But actually, I think it looks kind of cute with the fuzz, and I don't think there's too much back there, so I'm going to leave it for right now. If you have any shedding going on, just make sure to remove that. Okay, so far, so good. Now, let's cover our stem here. So I'm looking for 2 pieces of the corners that are about the same size. Okay, so fold your hair down so you have a nice clean seam showing. Do that on both sides. And then we're going to hot glue these 2 together. Okay, I'm going to give that a minute to set up. My glue has set up, and now I'm going to glue the tip here together down a couple inches, not all the way down. Do your best to bring that seam together. Okay, you need to make sure the hair is away because the hot glue will melt the hair. And then just go right down that seam and make sure that it's nice and glued together. Once your glue sets up, then you can fluff the hair back and you won't be able to see the seam. Okay, so this is the first seam that we did. I fluffed it out. As you can see, you can't see it. And now I want to slip this over with the open seam in the back, right over the top here. I want to give him kind of a fuzzy little horn there in the center, you know, like he's a little punk. Turn this over. And then now I can, this looks like it's going to be too much, so I'm going to trim that off. Pull that down, and now I'm going to glue that down. Just make sure that you keep your hanger out. I love it. It's so cute. Oh. I have the stem covered and I really like it. Just by fluffing the hair, you can't even see the seams where I glued it together or where I attached it. I'm really happy with that. And now we're going to do the eyes. I picked these up from Dollar Tree. They come in a pair. They have several different ones to choose from, but I went with the green eyes since I decided to do the green fur. They're awfully big this size, so I thought, you know, let's cover them and give them an eyelid on the top here. And as you can see, the eyes, they have a highlight and a little dot. You want to make sure that they're in the pretty much the same position on both eyes, because that is how the direction of where the eyes are looking. So I want him to be looking straight ahead or just slightly off center. So I have my highlight and the little dot, and they're both angled slightly off center. And then I'm only going to do a top lid. I thought, should I do a bottom lid? But I think that covers up too much of the eye. Plus, with just the top lid, if I go at an angle, look, he looks angry. So that's kind of the look I'm looking for. So I took and cut two pieces. They're as wide as the eye is, and then I'd say that's about 2 inches in width. And then I also kind of played with the hair here. I want to make sure that it's going to go in the direction that I want. Like this one is perfect. It's going up and away. So on this one I might have to style that a little bit, get in and move that hair to get it to go the way that I want. I love it. Okay, I have my faux fur attached and I'm really happy. I made sure that I got the hair to go in the direction that I want. Turned it over and made sure that was fully attached with glue. Now I was thinking maybe I would trim that, but as I look at it, I'm not going to. It almost looks like an eyebrow and an eyelid, and it makes it much more expressive, so I'm not going to trim that. Because as you can see on this one, you can kind of style those. I was looking, I first went up, but no, it looks better if it's coming down on the edge. But look, I love that. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But before we get these guys attached, they almost look like owl eyes. But before we get those attached, we're going to add some horns. I also picked these up from Amazon.com. They will also be in my Amazon associate shop under Wreath Supplies. This is a Halloween item. I'm going to remove this strap here. So it already has holes in there. I don't know if I'm going to be using those or not. If I don't feel that it's attached well enough with the hot glue and Aileen's original tacky glue, I will go back and wire them on. But look at how cool those are. Okay, so I want to put one on either side of his little tuft here, and I want them to go out like that. And I really like this glue. This glue works really well, but it takes 24 to 48 hours to fully set up, so that's why I use it in conjunction with hot glue. Okay, now the area that I want to put it, I'm going to try to spread apart the hair. I have my horns glued on. Now this one I went back and reinforced. It's nice and sturdy. This one I did not, and as you can see it's very loose. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now to reinforce this, I'm using a furniture repair kit. It comes with several different needles and this heavy duty yarn or twine. I'm using the curved needle on this one. And the first thing I want to do is attach the back here, and I want to attach it to the wire frame. So right here on the bottom, I'm going to take my needle and push it right through. So it'll go through the base of my horn there and through the fabric. Just be careful not to poke yourself on the other side. And now I'm just going to kind of move the hair out of the way so I can hide this piece after I get it tied on. Okay, so that helped already. Now I tacked this one down in 3 places. Just feel underneath to where you find a bar. There's a bar right here. So I'll attach it there, and then you want to do up here as well on this side. There's a bar right there, so I'll attach it there. Okay, I have both horns nice and secured, and as you can see, they're not going to go anywhere. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Now we're going to work on the eyes a little bit. So right here is a rough edge. So I want to glue that over just a little bit so that there is fuzz there and I don't see that. This is at the front of the eye. Okay, so this one I did and this one I haven't. So you can see the difference. And then in the front, see it has, that way it has the fur right there rather than the rough edge. See, that one has the rough edge. Much better. Now to get our eyes attached, I'm going to be using a cable tie mount. Now I'm initially going to stitch this on and then I'll go and add hot glue to keep it in place. But the hot glue alone is not going to keep it real well in place because this is long fur. I'm just going to take the sticky pad off and place it right in the center. And then that's what I'm going to use to stitch it on. And then I will adjust it and get it in position and then glue it on the rest of the way so that it holds where I want it to go. And I'm not going to worry about this end because the hair covers that. I can't wait. So cute. Okay, so we're going to attach our eye. And you just kind of want to press the fur away again. I kind of like that placement. And then feel on the back where the little cable tie mount is. You want to line that up with one of the wires in the back. Okay, so that's right here. Now I changed to a straight needle, make it easier. Come up. Okay, and then go right back down on the other side of that bar. Okay, then tie it off. Trim, and then I always like to hit the knot with just a little bit of hot glue. I don't want that to come undone. Okay, now my eye's on there pretty good, except it can twist and move, so we're going to take care of that now. Make sure I get my angle correct of how I want my eye to look. So I want that to come down a little bit like it is. I like that positioning. And now I'm going to go in and add hot glue underneath and get this nice and secure. So we're going to work on the mouth now. You're going to need 3 sheets of felt. You can pick this up at Dollar Tree. You'll need 1 sheet of white, 1 of red, and 1 of black. They come in packages of different colors. Now with the black, the first thing you want to do is cut out a mouth. Find something that you like. What I did was I went on the internet and I looked up monster mouths, and I wanted one that was open so I could have some teeth. And that gave me a little bit of an idea of where to go from here. So once you have that cut out, then you want to take this and trace it and cut a piece of white out. From that piece of white, then you're going to make your teeth. Now I've decided I want my mouth open a little bit more, so I'm going to move my upper teeth up and move my lower teeth right to the very bottom. I still need to trim this a little bit, but I like that. And then I wanted to put a tongue, and that's where the red comes in. I just cut a small piece that's oval. Place that down, and then you'll want to put your teeth over the top. Now before you glue this down and do your final trimming, you want to make sure that you're very happy with the way that it looks. If you need to do any adjusting, like you don't like the way your tongue looks, move it around till you find a position that you like it and that it looks normal or relatively normal. So I like that. Okay. So my next step is I want to get this glued down onto the black felt. Start here with my tongue. Now I'm going to go back and do a little bit more cleanup on the outside here. Okay, now just keep trimming until you're really happy with how it looks. If it doesn't look right to you, just keep working on it. Okay, I like that. I'm happy with that. You want to take another piece of the faux fur, preferably something that's in a triangle like this, or however your mouth is shaped. Then you want to lay that down. You need it to be a 1/2 inch to about 1 inch, and then you want to trim that out. Just remember to stay very close to the fabric so you don't cut the hair. So my mouth and my little piece of fur I just cut. Now this is going to go right at the base of our mouth. So I'm going to lay it down first. Oh, I like that. And now I'm just going to attach it with some hot glue. Okay, I have the fringe glued on. I just did a really small bead of glue all the way around, small sections. Then once you have it glued down, just go through and gently brush it out. This will help release any loose hairs that you might have cut when you were trimming the piece. Okay, let's get our mouth on our monster here. Now, we're going to attach it at the top part first. So you need to figure out how far up you want to put the mouth, and then you need to separate the fur. Okay, so then right where the separation is where we're going to glue this top part. So it'll go right there. Lift up, go underneath, and add some more hot glue. Now when you're gluing the mouth and the eyes, remember that you are gluing onto a rounded surface, so you're not going to be able to get the entire eye glued down. I have glue right through this area, which is where it is touching the form in the back. Same thing with the mouth. This part here I don't have glued down, only this top section. That's why I added this piece here to help everything blend in. And now I can bring this down, kind of give him maybe a little mustache look. Oh, I love it. Have fun with grooming how the hair lays. Oh, I like that very much. You can have him more smooth or more rough. Very cute. Absolutely adorable. Oh my goodness. Is that not the most adorable monster wreath that you have ever seen? So cute. I am extremely happy he came out exactly as I had envisioned in my mind. So adorable. Now the items that I picked up from Amazon, which is the fur and the horns, you can find that in my Amazon associate shop underneath wreath supplies. Everything else I picked up from Dollar Tree. To get started on today's Halloween wreath, you're going to need a 14-inch wreath form. You're also going to need a package of chenille stems or pipe cleaners. Now we're going to be turning the regular wreath form here into a working wreath form, and all that means is that we're going to be adding the pipe cleaners to the wreath form first. And that's really easy to do. You want to attach one on the 2 crossbars on the inside and one on the 2 crossbars on the outside. And then all of my ties that I have on the inside I pull towards the inside, and the ones on the outside I pull to the outside. And then you want to put one in the middle of the 2 crossbars on the 2 bars on the outside. And then you just repeat that all the way around. When you're done, you should have a total of 18 pipe cleaners. have all my pipe cleaners attached, so my wreath is ready to go. Now for the base, I'm going to be using 10 inches by 10 yards deco poly mesh. Now this is the regular deco poly mesh. This does not have any metallic strips in it. I did pick this up from craftoutlet.com and it was $3.75. Now you will need 1.5 to 2 rolls to do the base. So here on my wreath form, all of my pipe cleaners around the center I've lifted up. This is where we're going to start to attach our mesh. And I have my 10-inch roll open here. You want to take one end and scrunch it together. And you're going to take that, you're going to place that in between 2 of the pipe cleaners here. Get it nice and snug and tie it down. You want to make sure that doesn't come out. And now we're going to go around, we're going to fill the base first with the poof method, and then we're going to go back with the rest of the mesh and fill in with the cruffle method. So I'm going to measure here at 10 inches. And you want to start to measure here where you attached it to your wreath form. Go out 10 inches and pinch. Then where you pinched there, you go to your next pipe cleaner that's on the inside. You place it there and give it a twist or 2. Then you continue to move your way to the next pipe cleaner and just keep measuring at 10 inches. You want to go all the way around the center until you get back to the place you started. So I'm right back where I started. So now I'm going to go from the one here that's at the top, and I'm going to move directly down below to the pipe cleaner that's on the bottom on the outside. Give it a nice little twist. Okay, so now I've moved down. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I just did in the center around the outside and hit every pipe cleaner, measuring at 10 inches. I have my poof base all done. I went through and opened everything up, and now I'm going to work on adding the cruffles. We're also going to be adding some of this really pretty glitter tulle that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I love it. It has silver spider webs on this side, and I think that's beautiful, and it's going to look gorgeous. You'll need 2 rolls, and you need to cut into strips at 12 inches, and you should be able to get 9 pieces out of each roll. You will need a total of 18 pieces. I have all of my glitter tulle or sparkle tulle cut into strips at 12 inches, and I got exactly 18 pieces. Then with the rest of your black deco mesh, you should have half a roll left from doing the poof method, and then half a roll or another roll from your second roll. And you want to cut your pieces into strips at 15 inches and cut up the rest of what you have. I was able to get an additional 6 pieces, so I'm going to incorporate those extra pieces around the outside. So we're going to do the cruffle method here to fill in. I always like to put something on one end to weigh it down. And then I also use a little clip to help hold it. So you start at one end and you give it probably 2 decent rolls, and you don't want to go too tight, because if you go too tight the ends will stick out and then you'll have more fraying. Then I do a little clip there, turn it around, Do the same thing on the other side, 1 or 2 good curls, and then you scrunch down the center. So that way you have 2 curls and like a little ruffle in the middle. I'm going to use my bow dabber here to help me make my little bundles. So you're going to start with a cruffle, and then you're going to take the piece of your glittered tulle, and we're going to do the standard ruffle on this one. You just start at one end and scrunch down the center, and then place that in on top. Now I think that looks really pretty. It's going to give that little bit of extra sparkle. And then you're going to place one of those in every single pipe cleaner, both around the inside and the outside. So you just go to your pipe cleaner there. Lift up your little bundle and place it in. Pull those pipe cleaners up. Give a good twist. And now you want to twist it down a couple times. Pull those pipe cleaners together, trim, leave about a 1/2 inch. And then you want to take those pipe cleaners and push them down so they're facing the back. The other trick is when you're adding in your cruffles is you want to make sure that they're laying this way side by side. If you angle them this way, what happens is you'll get a lot of mesh shoved in the center and not as much around the outside, and then it won't look even. I'm going to continue to add the rest of my cruffles and my glitter tulle to my base, and then I'll be back and we can move forward. Now I have my base completely filled in, and I'm really happy with the end result. Now if you see anything strange, any little pieces that look funny to you, make sure to trim them. Now is the time. Also go through, make sure everything is laying where you can see what you've put in and that you're happy with the shape. Okay. This is the sign we're going to be using today. I fell in love the moment I saw it online. I did pick this up from craftoutlet.com. Anyone can order from craftoutlet.com. You don't have to have a business or anything. And this was $6.95. This is one of their weatherproof signs. It's on like a hard piece of plastic board. It does have a slight bit of give. They don't provide any holes or any way to attach it. So what I like to do with these is attach 4 pipe cleaners onto the back, and I do use hot glue. But then I also cover it up with a little piece of ribbon. I want to make sure that's nice and secure. So we're going to be putting one at the 4 corners. Add a dollop of hot glue, lay in your pipe cleaner. I like to top that off a little bit. Then I place my piece of ribbon. Now this is one of my favorite tools to use when I'm hot gluing. I picked this up from Dollar Tree over in the kitchen section. It's by Betty Crocker. It's a scraper spatula and it's 100% silicone. And that's what you want to look for. Any 100% silicone tool will work. And they're great because if hot glue does get on there, as soon as it's dry, you just go over it and it peels right off. And then you're good to go again. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of my pipe cleaners attached to my sign. I got all my pipe cleaners on. The glue has fully set up. My sign is ready to go onto my wreath. I was thinking maybe on the side, but I think she really stands out in the center, so that's where she's going to go. And to attach her, you just simply take your pipe cleaners, you separate your mesh until you can get down to the wire frame in the back, and then you attach it onto the wire frame. Now I always attach it a little on the loose side until I'm sure I have it positioned where I want it, and then I can always tighten it down. I have my sign on. She's nice and secure. She's not going to go anywhere. Once you have her placed, make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners in the back. Oh, I just love it. So I pulled out these two ribbons that I picked up from Dollar Tree to go on our wreath today. And they are both 2.5 inches at 3 yards. I really like this one with the black background and the white spider webs. And then this is just really pretty to add that little bit of sparkle. And I like that it's also sheer. I really like to use this ribbon kind of to back up other ribbons to add just that little bit of pop of color. You'll also need a couple full-length pipe cleaners. You want to take your ribbon and cut it into strips at 24 inches. You should get 5 pieces off of each roll. We're going to work on our ribbon bundles now, and this is what they look like. We're just going to put 2 simple bows together. And like I said, I really like the purple here in the background. It kind of helps set off the spider web. So we'll be making 5 bundles like this. So I'm going to start here with my glitter ribbon. You want your tails to be about 4 inches. Pinch and twist. Now on your tails, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing up, but when you go to start making your loops, the nice side of the ribbon should be facing down. And then you're going to make 1 loop on either side at about 4 inches. Then you're going to do the same thing with your spider web right on top. Now if you need to do a little bit of adjusting to make sure that your loops are laying properly, that they all look the correct size, this is the time to do your adjusting before you tie it together. And pinch in the center and pull out. You want to take a full-length pipe cleaner, wrap it from the front to the back. I always like to pull down. That way I can get a nice tight grip. Pinch and twist. Okay, and then you just want to open up your loops and your tails. And my goal here is to kind of do every other one. So I have a loop of purple, then it'll be a loop of the spider web, then a purple tail, then a spider web tail, then a purple loop, then the spider loop, then a purple tail, and then the spider tail. So that is what I am attempting to do. So I have a nice mix. And that purple will peek out behind the spider web all the way around. If you need to adjust them, go right down to where they come out and do any kind of twisting or adjusting. If they're not fully opened, go ahead and open them at the base. Just be careful not to pull too tight, otherwise you'll pull it right out. I will do my final adjusting and trim the tails once I get it onto the wreath. You'll need to make 5 ribbon bundles. I'm placing my 5 ribbon bundles, and what I did was I just kind of went around and stuck them in first to make sure that I liked their placement. And then you just take the pipe cleaners, and you want to use full-length pipe cleaners because this wreath is nice and thick and full. Then you take the pipe cleaners and you kind of move away the mesh till you get down to the wire wreath form. and then wrap your ends around the wire wreath form. And then you can pull it down as far as you need to. I don't like my ribbon to be too deep within my wreath. I like it to sit a little bit more up on the top. So you can kind of play with it and adjust your curls around it. And then once you have it placed where you want, you can kind of tie it down. Once you have all your bundles placed, you're going to want to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners in the back. I have all of my ribbon bundles attached. I'm very happy with that. Now the next item I'm going to add are these really pretty glitter ball picks that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. I have 3 of them, and I like the mixture of the different sizes and different colors. And all I'm going to do is add hot glue and then feed it down into the mesh. Now it will attach really well if it glues right onto the deco mesh. And I like these because they are bendable, so you can kind of shape them. So as you can see, I kind of have them pulled up and then curled a little bit, and I tried to mix up the colors. Now I want to place one right here. I want it to kind of fill in that area. So once you decide where you want to place it, kind of figure out where you're going to glue it in. And then you can also, bend them. I really like that. So you can get them right in the position that you want. Just add a good amount of hot glue to the stem there and make sure that you get good contact. I really like that. It adds a little bit more texture and a different dimension. Very pretty. I'm going to go ahead and place my other 2 picks. I have all 3 of my picks added to my wreath, and I'm really happy with their placement. I like that little bit of sparkle and the extra texture that it adds. Now I left this space open because I have something else I'd like to add. And I found this cute little sign that says, "Please don't wake the dead," and it's shaped like a little coffin. I found this at Walmart last year, so I picked it up. It was like $3.49, and I thought this is the perfect little sign to accompany this beautiful picture in the center. Now I glued down the knot in the back, and I also glued down the beads there that are on the sign because I don't want those to move. And then I added 2 pipe cleaners here on the back. I just simply stapled them on, and I use 1/4 of an inch staples. And I always add a little bit of glue on top so that my pipe cleaners don't slide around. And to attach it, you do the same thing that you've done with the ribbon bundles. You just feed your pipe cleaners through the mesh and attach it to the wire frame. But I thought this would be really cute as a nice little addition right there. So I'm going to wire this guy on. And there you go. I have my little sign attached. I really like that. I think it goes perfectly with the picture in the middle. Now the last thing that I want to add is I'm going to add some of these purple roses. They come out of the Halloween section from Dollar Tree. And I do have 2 stems of these. And then I'm also going to add some of the jeweled spiders in purple. So I have quite a bit. Let's see, I think you get 5, so I have 10 spiders. I probably won't use all of them, but I am going to add some of those. Now to prep your roses, you just want to cut a stem. You just need a couple inches, enough to add some glue and to feed it in. The stems also come with 2 little stems that look like this. They have a little bat and some sticks. So I'm going to add those as well. And there you go. We are all done. I had 3 stems of the roses that I added, and then 1 package of the purple spiders, which is 5 spiders. I am so happy with this wreath. It is so big and beautiful. This wreath measures at about 24 inches in diameter. For the sign on our wreath today, I'm going to be using this. It comes as a garden stake at Dollar Tree for $1.25. It is stapled on, so I just used my paint scraper to help me get it off. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it off without breaking the sign. That's why I wanted to do it first. And then they didn't cut it out real well. There's still some cardboard here. So I pulled out my good old sanding block, and I'm just going to go over that and remove that mess. I don't want to see that. Comes off lickety-split with your sander. I got all the edges cleaned up. Now I really like this sign. It's very stunning and it stands out, and when I saw it I was like, yep, I want that one. And it's perfect for a traditional Halloween wreath, which is what we're doing today. Now to get this ready to go onto our wreath, we're going to be adding some pipe cleaners onto the back. I'm going to do one in each of the corners. Start off with some hot glue. Add a dab more on top. And then to help secure it, a little bit of ribbon. Just be careful not to burn yourself. For our wreath today, you're going to be needing an 18-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. The reason why I decided to go with the 18-inch is because of the size of our sign. It's rather large and it overtakes the 14-inch. You're also going to need several packages of Dollar Tree deco mesh. You will need 4 in the black and 4 in the orange. This is their new packaging that comes out with their seasonal mesh. It is still 6 inches at 5 yards. It feels like it's a little bit better quality, but we're going to check it out today. I have 3 rolls of my deco mesh out, and I have them stacked, 2 of the black and 1 of the orange. You want to cut your mesh into strips at 22 inches. I like to cut 3 at a time. I use a rotary cutter. It makes it very easy, and it makes quick work of having to cut your mesh. I have a package of the black mesh tubing that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I have a piece of cardboard. This is 7.5 inches by 5.5 inches. I'm just going to use this to help me cut my mesh tubing. The mesh tubing likes to twist up, so if you have to do it a couple times to get what you need, that's fine. And then just cut both ends. We're going to prep our ribbon now. All of these ribbon came from Dollar Tree. I like this one. It has the right color tones, those orange and black, and I love the jack-o'-lanterns. It's so traditional. And then I love the black ribbon with the white spider webbing. The sign has spiders and webbing all over it. And then I really like this one with the black and orange. Now this is the only item that did not come from Dollar Tree that I'm using. This is Celebrate It, and I believe Celebrate is Michael's. This was regularly $9.99. I'm sure I purchased it on sale. 2.5 inches at 25 feet. But I saw that and I love it. It's so pretty, and it's absolutely the right color tones and everything for this wreath. You will want to cut 8 pieces of each ribbon at 10 inches and dovetail their ends. I have everything ready and prepared. Time to make our bundles. We're going to be doing the cruffle method today. I like this method when using Dollar Tree mesh because you get little to no fraying. So my piece of mesh is cut at 22 inches. You want to start at one end and give a nice roll. I usually like to roll it with Dollar Tree mesh 3 or 4 times. Clip, turn around, do the same thing at the other end. And then the distance in between you scrunch, just like you would in a ruffle. So you have 2 curls and a ruffle in the middle. This is also called the woodland ruffle method. Now each bundle is going to have 2 pieces of mesh. Now on the orange bundles, I'm going to be adding 4 pieces of the black mesh tubing. I like this. It kind of reminds me of a spider. That's why I'm adding it, to kind of go with the sign that has spiders on it. Half a pipe cleaner. Wrap your pipe cleaner around, get it nice and tight, and give a couple twists. Okay, so all of your orange bundles are going to have the black tubing added. We're making 3 different bundles. Now our next 2 bundles both have 2 pieces of the black mesh and ribbon. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube should let you know every time I upload new content. So for this one, I'm going to put these 2 ribbon together. I always like to put my accent ribbon in the back. I think that's so pretty. I love the kitty. You can find a detailed supply list in the description box below. Now on my ribbon bundles, I like to do a little bit of adjusting before I add it to my wreath. I want to make sure that my ribbon is going to sit the way that I want it. If I need to adjust it in any way, now is the time. Okay, so that's our second bundle. And with this bundle, I'm going to be doing these 2 ribbon. And that is your 3rd bundle. Now as you add them to your wreath here, we're going to be adding them to the center bar. On this wreath form, there's only 3 bars. If you're working with a wreath form that has 4 bars, you want to attach it to the 2 bars that are in the center. And I'm going to be placing one right on the crossbar and then 3 in between. So I'll place one on the crossbar, 3 bundles in between, another on the crossbar, 3 bundles, and do that all the way around. And I'm simply going to be alternating. Start with this one. So right now I have 1 on the bar and 3 inside. So this one's going to go right on the bar. I like to pull my pipe cleaners together and then push them back forward. This keeps my wreath looking nice and clean from the back and keeps any sharp edges away from the door. In between each of the ones that have ribbon will go an orange one with the mesh tubing. And then our third. But look at how pretty that looks. Just with a few bundles added. I am loving that base. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to work on finishing my base and then I'll be back and we can move forward. I have all of my bundles attached. I'm very happy with the end result. Look at how bright and festive this wreath is. So pretty. Now my glue is fully set up on my sign and I'm ready to attach it. I want it to go right in the center. You just take your pipe cleaners, you feed it through the mesh and the ribbon, and you attach it to the wire wreath form in the back. I have my sign attached and I'm really happy with that. Just go around and adjust your ribbon and your mesh until you are happy with how your sign is sitting. Now there's one more thing I want to add, and it's this 4-pack of Halloween picks. Thought this looked very vintage and traditional, the little jack-o'-lanterns there. Now they already come on a stick for you, but it's very loose. So you don't want it to fall off. I'm just going to add a small amount of glue. There we go. And put it back in. Now you just need to decide where you want to place them. I do have 2 packages, but I don't think I'm going to use more than about 4 or 5 of them. And then I don't need that long. That just snaps off. And you'll glue these guys in just like you would a stem. Add some hot glue and make sure you get it nestled nicely right on down inside that deco mesh. That way when the glue sets up, it'll be fully secure. And yes, I always like to work with my placement a little bit before I put them in. And there you go, we are all done. I have all my little pumpkins in, and I lied, I used both packages, so a total of 8 of the pumpkins. But I'm very pleased with the end result. It just screams Happy Halloween. So bright and cheery. Everything except this one ribbon came from Dollar Tree, making it very budget friendly. The finished wreath is about 25 inches in diameter. To get started on our Halloween DIY, you're going to need one of the 14-inch wreath forms that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. This one happens to be silver, but it doesn't matter. You can use whatever color you can find. You will also need 6 packages of the decorative mesh, and each package is 6 inches by 5 yards. And then you'll also need a package of white pipe cleaners cut in half. You'll want to reserve a couple full length to do the sign. I have my pipe cleaners, my wreath form, and my mesh is all open. Now I have my mesh here double layered. I'm just going to clean the ends up. It's always nice to start with clean ends. I prefer to use a rotary cutter, but if you don't have one, scissors will do fine as long as they're nice and sharp. I did pick this rotary cutter up at Dollar Tree. It's only $1.25 and I highly recommend it. You can't buy replacement blades for like your Fiskars or anything for $1.25, and this lasts me a good 6 to 8 months, which is really good. Now you want to take both ends of your mesh and scrunch it together. We're going to be doing the poof method or bubble method. Now that's usually done with 10-inch or 21-inch mesh. This was my solution for using Dollar Tree mesh, was to put two together. Now you want to take those ends and secure them with a pipe cleaner. I like to pinch right at the base there and give a good twist. And then you're going to take that and we're going to attach it here to the crossbar, to the two bars in the center. Pull it together and give a good twist or two. Pull your pipe cleaners together, and then I always push mine forward. Once the wreath is complete, you won't see that from the front, but that keeps your back nice and clean. Now here on the ends, let's pull those pipe cleaners back. I usually like to double tie down my ends just to make sure that they don't come loose. So I will pull them back through the pipe cleaners. Pull the pipe cleaners nice and tight again and give a double twist. Then you can trim down any excess deco mesh. You still want to leave about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. But now those are nice and secure. They're not going to go anywhere. And then just tuck the ends of the pipe cleaners forward. Now that's all on the back. Turn over. And now we're going to measure our poofs, and I'm going to measure my poofs on this one at 8 inches. You want to start to measure right where you tied down. So grab both, pull them out and measure at 8 inches. Give it a pinch. Then add a pipe cleaner. Wrap it around, pull it nice and secure to the back. Give a good twist. And then you're going to apply that to the two bars in the center. Just wrap your pipe cleaners around the two bars, pull it to the back, and give a good twist or two. Pull together, and then push forward. You'll put 10 of the poofs in each section, and each section is between the two crossbars here. And you want to attach all of your poofs to the two bars in the center. Now it's really nice because you're doing 2 poofs at a time. And once you get this down, this method goes nice and quick. And it's an easy method for a beginner. I'm going to be adding a lot of decorations and a lot of bright colors to this, so I didn't want my base to be bright. I just wanted it to be one of the main colors that I'm going to be using today. Now when choosing your mesh, you want to pull all your mesh either from the fall or from Halloween, because the two are a little different. They're both orange, but the metallic strips are different. In Halloween, it's a dark orange metallic strip, and in fall, it's this one, a gold metallic stripe. So just make sure that you pay attention. You can mix the two, but you'll need 3 of each and use 1 roll of each as you're doing your wreath. I have attached 2 rolls of the deco mesh, and that covers 2 sections on the wreath. The wreath has 6 sections, so you will need 6 rolls of mesh. I did have 1 extra bundle at the end, so I went ahead and added it. Sometimes you never know with Dollar Tree mesh. You may have an extra bundle or you may have 1 less bundle. That's okay, no biggie. If you're short 2 bundles, go back to the first one and just move 1 over into the next section. You want to keep them as even as possible. That will keep the shape of your wreath even as well. But I'm really happy with how that's turning out. I'm going to continue to add my mesh and fill in the base of the wreath, and then we'll come back and move forward and decorate. I have my base completed. Now once you get your mesh on, the only thing you need to do is go through and just separate the 2 pieces of mesh so that you get the full benefit of having 2 poofs for every poof. And that fills in your base nicely. Now this is a great method when using Dollar Tree deco mesh because you get little to no fraying on this wreath. Now this is a great method for beginners because you're not cutting the deco mesh. Once you get to this state where you've fluffed out your wreath and you have your base on, if you do find anything that's a little loose that might have been coming out from the sides of the mesh, just trim it off. Sometimes the sides of the mesh don't get fully fused and you'll have a little piece that will come off. Don't worry about it. Just trim anything that looks funky. With Dollar Tree, you never know with their mesh. Some mesh is better than others. Some are easier to work with than others. But with this method, you can use even the worst mesh from Dollar Tree and your wreath base will still come out absolutely beautiful. Here on the back you can see that I've attached everything to the two bars in the center and I've tucked down my pipe cleaners. I don't cover the back of my wreaths because I think handmade wreaths should look handmade, but this way it keeps the back of your wreath looking nice and clean, and any of the ends of the pipe cleaners are pushed forward so you don't have any issues of them scratching a door. Now this is the sign that I've chosen to use. I went ahead and removed the hanger, which was this little ribbon. It was stapled on the back. And then I don't really care for this little bow, so I've also removed that. You just want to be careful because as you can see, it will lift up some of the paper. I am going to glue something over that to cover it, so I'm not worried about it. And then this sign does have a good amount of glitter. All of the black that you see is all glittered. So to clean this up, what makes a good quick work is just one of the paint brushes. I have one that I only use for this, and it really removes any of the loose glitter right away and makes your sign look nice and clean. I really do like that. Now to attach the sign to our wreath, we're going to need to add some pipe cleaners. Now normally the signs you get from Dollar Tree will have a hole where they have the hanger. This one didn't, so we're going to be hanging it using just the pipe cleaners this time. I'm going to glue one right here to the top where the original hanger was. Just lay down a dollop of hot glue and place in your pipe cleaner. And I'm going to add one more to either side down here at the bottom. You want to let this glue fully set up before you try to attach it to your wreath. I always like to go back and add a little bit more hot glue over the top just to make sure that they're nice and secure. We're going to work on our ribbon bundles now. I pulled out 3 different ribbons to use today. Now this one I think is absolutely gorgeous. I picked this up at Dollar Tree. It is one of their glitter orange ribbons. This came out of their fall section. 2.5 inches at 9 feet. You will need 1 roll. Now this ribbon I ordered from craftoutlet.com. I really do like them. It only took about 10 days for me to get this, so I was really happy about that. I'll insert a photo of the item number for this ribbon. I really do like it. It is 2.5 inches at 10 yards. It is 100% polyester, but I really do love the candy corns. And then I'm going to accent with this one. I also picked this up at Craft Outlet. I will also include a photo here of the item number. And this is 1.5 inches at 10 yards. And I really do like this. It's glittery, but not too terribly glittery. I absolutely love it. And this ribbon is nice and easy to work with. It holds its shape and it's really nice. I've used it several times. It's by Expressions. Really nice ribbon. You'll want to cut 6 pieces of the white ribbon at 10 inches, 6 pieces of the candy corn ribbon at 12 inches and 6 pieces of the glittered orange ribbon at 12 inches. Now I have my ribbon cut. I am dovetailing my ends on both my small ribbon and my large ribbon. And that's really easy to do. You just fold the 2 ends together like that. And then you cut from the fold to the ends. And I don't usually do too strong of a dovetail, usually 1/2 inch, no more than 1 inch. Just want to make the ends look a little pretty. To make our bundles, you'll need to have a pipe cleaner and 1 piece of each ribbon. I'm going to start with the glitter ribbon in the back and then my candy corn ribbon on top. Find the center. And then you want to push up in the center, down, up, and down. You want the outside rim of your ribbon to be down. Pinch and then do it again on the other side. And pinch it in the center. You're going to do the same thing with the smaller ribbon. Now remember, this is a little bit shorter, and I wanted this to be shorter so it'll stand up more in the center. So do a little scrunch there and put that in the middle. Wrap your pipe cleaner around to the back. Always like to pull down. I can get a nice tight grip and then give a twist or two. And you just want to separate the large ribbon. And it's easier if you go right down to where they come together and just kind of pull side to side. And go to the other one and do the same thing. And you just kind of want to lift up and curl those ends out. Just much easier to kind of play with your ribbon bundles here in your hand than once they're on the wreath. That way if you're having any issues of them laying right, you can really adjust it much easier this way. And then I want my white here to stand up a little bit more, so that's why it's shorter. Plus this ribbon is a little bit stiffer, and like I said, it'll do exactly what you want it to do. So I think that is really cute. This is what your bundle should look like, and you will need to make 7 bundles. Let's get our sign attached. Now I like my signs to sit up on top of my wreath. I like them to really stand out. Now this one I think I'm going to go at a little bit of an angle here. Yeah, I think I like that. And then to attach this, all you do is you take your pipe cleaners, you move the mesh aside till you get down to the wire frame, and then you attach it to the wire frame. Now you can attach it anywhere on the wire frame that you need to get your sign to sit the way that you want. Now when you initially attach it, don't attach it really tight. You want to make sure you get your placement down before you tighten it down. Now to cover my little boo-boo up here where the bow was, I'm going to put one of these cute little spider rings. Now you get a package of 10 and they come with 5 in purple and 5 in orange. I'm only going to be using the orange today. Now they are rings, so you'll need to cut the ring part off, and they come off really easy, just a regular pair of scissors. And there you go. Now the reason why I chose to do a little spider is because there are little webbings and a couple little spiders already here on the sign. So then I can place this spider here and it'll cover up my boo-boo, and I think that will look absolutely adorable. I didn't want to put another bow here because I really want to show off the sign. My ribbon is all going to go around, so I think that looks absolutely adorable. Now I will attach the other 4 spiders once I get all my ribbon and my other embellishments on. Next I'm going to place my ribbon bundles, and I'm just going to kind of play with them and find the placement of where I want to put them. Once I have that down, you do the same thing just like you attach the sign. You move your mesh apart until you can get down to that wire frame, and you attach it to the wire frame. And you can attach it again wherever you need to get that bundle to sit where you want it to. Just pull your pipe cleaners down, give it a good twist or two, and make sure to tuck your pipe cleaners. But look, how pretty does that look? Very nice. I'm going to go ahead and place in the rest of my ribbon bundles. Now I really do like to put my ribbon in after I've done my deco mesh, because you use a lot less ribbon, and then you can strategically place them so you get the biggest bang for your buck. I have all 7 of my ribbon bundles in, and I'm really happy with their placement. I found these adorable little candy corn picks from Dollar Tree. Now they had 2 to choose from. They had one that looks like this where you get 3 of the smaller candy corns. And then they also had this one where you got a larger candy corn. I'm going to be using 2 of the larger and 1 with the 3 on this wreath. Now you want to remove any of the tags that are on there. And then you also want to trim your stem here. Doesn't need to be that long. I'm going to leave about 3 inches. Now before you glue in your picks, just play with their placement, look and see where you would like to put them. And remember, they are on wire, so if you need to bend them a little bit, feel free to. Now when placing your ribbon bundles, keep in mind where you want to place your little candy corns, so you can leave a little extra space for them. So just play with their placement until you're happy with where you have them. Kind of change the angles, that kind of thing. Just play with it. Once you find that you like that and you're happy with where they are, just use some hot glue to glue them in. I think that looks absolutely adorable. Okay, I'm going to glue in the rest of my candy corn, and I'm also going to glue in the rest of my little spiders here, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And there you go, I'm all done. I'm really happy with the end result. I have all of my candy corn and my little spiders all glued in. I think it looks absolutely fabulous. Now you can see there's a lot of color and a lot of stuff going on. That's why I wanted to keep my base a solid color, because I knew I was going to add a lot to it and you weren't going to see very much of it. So I'm really pleased with this. I absolutely love candy corn decor during Halloween. For today's project, you're going to need one of the tinsel witch hats that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. Now these show up in the stores when they receive their Halloween signs, which should be happening anytime now. For the majority of the stores here in California, we have just received this week all of the Halloween signs and the witch hats. So the first thing you want to do to prepare this is to remove all of the tinsel. And usually you can find the end up near the top or on the edge of one of these. And it's really simple. They just kind of weave back and forth. I have everything off of my tinsel witch hat except for the hanger. Now the next step I want to do is I want to remove some of these nubs. They're going to interfere when I go to wrap my hat. So on the top portion here, I'm just going to use my wire cutters and go through and remove them. I'm also going to be using one of the fat quarters that you can pick up at Dollar Tree for Halloween. You can use any Halloween fabric that you want, but one of the fat quarters from Dollar Tree is plenty big enough for your witch hat. As you can see, the hat completely fits on there. You might even be able to cover two of these with the same fabric. You should be able to, it looks like. Okay, so you don't need a very big piece of fabric, and we are going to be wrapping only the top portion here. Like that. This portion is going to be left out, and this is where we're going to attach our mesh. I'm going to get all the wrinkles out of my fabric, and then when we get back, I'll show you how to attach it to your wreath form. I ironed my fabric, and now I've cut a piece that will fit my hat. So I'm happy with that. That's ready to go. Now I always like to add a little bit of stuffing of some kind to make my hat look a little bit more three-dimensional. So I have some leftover bubble wrap from some packages that I purchased. Now if you don't have any leftover bubble wrap, Dollar Tree does sell rolls of bubble wrap, so you can always use that. But I do have 3 pieces here. I'm just going to lay down, and now I'm going to trace it out with a Sharpie. It doesn't have to be perfect. I have my bubble wrap cut. Now I had a large enough piece that I took sections of that and went again. So I actually have 6 layers of bubble wrap, which should be nice. Now before I try to stuff that, I'm going to attach half of the fabric here, and then I'm going to put this in and then stretch the rest of the fabric over. So I'm going to start here at the base, add some hot glue right onto the frame here, grab my fabric and lift it up and over. Just be careful, you don't want to burn yourself. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube will let you know every time I upload new content. And I do upload new content to my channel every week. When you get up at the top where the hanger is, you need to snip a little hole to pull the hanger through. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used in today's project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it will also let you know where I purchased the materials. I like the hat. It's nice and stuffed. Everything's nice and smooth. Just trim away any excess fabric. Now, if you want to cover the back, I would use a piece of black felt and cut it out before you wrap it, and then just glue it on the back if you want to hide that. But I think that's really nice. Now we'll come back and add a little bit more to the top part of the hat, but now we're going to work on the deco mesh area down here. I pulled out these 2 rolls of Dollar Tree mesh. This is silver or gray. It comes in their Christmas section, and this is black. You can usually get this in the Halloween section. You want to cut your mesh into strips at 20 inches. We're going to be doing the cruffle method today. You're also going to need a package of the black mesh tubing. You can pick this up at Dollar Tree. You want to cut the tubing into strips at 20 inches as well. Now I pulled out these 2 beautiful Halloween ribbon. Both of them I picked up from Dollar Tree. Both are 2.5 inches at 3 yards. We have the black with the white spider webs, and then this one I thought was quite fitting. It has a skull and some bats, a frog carcass, some teeth, some snakes and spiders. Perfect for a witch. You want to cut your ribbon into strips at 10 inches and dovetail both ends. We're going to be making 3 different bundles for our wreath today. Our first bundle is going to have the ribbon in it and 1 piece of each color. Now the cruffle or woodland ruffle is very easy to do. You have your piece of mesh that's cut at 20 inches. I like to put something to weigh it down. You start at one end and you do a curl, a nice little roll. Because this is Dollar Tree mesh, I usually like to go about 3 times. Clip, turn around, and then you'll do the same thing on the other side. And then the distance in between, you pinch and scrunch right down the center as if you would on a regular ruffle. So you have 2 curls and a ruffle in the middle. On this bundle, you want to put the lighter color on the bottom. Do the same thing here with our black mesh. Out of all the mesh that Dollar Tree carries, their seasonal mesh is the hardest to work with. It's very hit and miss. Sometimes you get a good bundle and sometimes you don't. So keep that in mind. You can always buy 6-inch mesh from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. A cruffle of black and a cruffle of silver. And now I'm going to add my ribbon. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my lighter colored ribbon on the bottom and my darker ribbon on top. Okay, so that's our first bundle. You'll need half a pipe cleaner. My hands are not wanting to work with me today, so I'm having a little bit of trouble. Wrap that pipe cleaner around, pull that nice and snug, and give a twist. Okay, so that is bundle 1. Our second bundle also has a piece of each color. But this time we're going to put the dark color on the bottom and the lighter color on top. For this one, you're going to need 2 of the 20-inch mesh tubing in black. I just kind of put the ends together so I can find the center pinch. And then you're just going to do like a bow. Okay, like that. Put that in, and you're just going to do that twice. Aye. And that is your second bundle. And the third bundle is just going to be 2 black cruffles. And that is what your third bundle should look like. Okay, to get your bundles attached, you're going to be attaching it to the center bar. Now I've already attached 3 in this corner, and I attached them right here on this first section. There's a little crossbar here. So I put all 3 here. I want my corners nice and fluffy. And now I'm just going to work my way down, alternating between the 3. I'm going to start with the one that has the ribbon. And once you get it tied on, push those pipe cleaners forward and then move your bundle over. The next one is this one. Now, Dollar Tree seasonal mesh sometimes is not sealed on the ends, so if it starts to fray on the end, or the sides I should say, just pull the piece off and move right along. And then the last one is the solid black. And then just repeat your pattern. I have all of my bundles attached. I did end up making 18 bundles. You could probably go with about 14 or 15 bundles, but you know I like my base nice and thick, and I'm really happy with the color combination, the monochromatic. I think it looks very well with the material that I chose. Now I did have a lot of ribbon left, and I decided I wanted to add more, so with what I had left I went ahead and made 4 ribbon bundles, and now I've been adding them wherever I see a little hole, like right here. Over here needs another one, so I'm going to add this one. And you just move your mesh aside until you can get down to that frame and attach it right to the frame. I like that very much. With that added ribbon, didn't quite have enough once I got done, so I'm glad I still had some ribbon. And that took 1 roll of each of the ribbon. Now I also went ahead and made this little bundle. Both of the ribbon are cut at 6 inches and dovetailed, and then I have 2 pieces of the mesh tubing. I just tied it together. This cutie is going to go right at the tip here of our hat, because this looks really plain, and then you get to all this, so we need a little something something up here, and I think that right there is perfect. So I'm just going to use my pipe cleaners here, and I'm going to tie it onto the end of my hat. So I tied it right onto the end. The very end here is just fabric. I'm going to push that down, make sure the end is tucked so I don't have anything sharp. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of hot glue. That looks so cute. Now I'm really loving that. I like that plain just the way it is. I was originally thinking about maybe adding a sign. I did pull this out. Please stop in. This came with multiple other ones. They were all attached by ribbon on the back. And so I just took this piece because it's small enough. So I thought, you know, that would look really cute if you place that maybe right there. Please stop in. It goes perfectly with the color tones, but I think it actually takes away from the wreath, so I'm going to leave it off. But if you wanted to add a sign, that would be a good one. But this is a great frame. I absolutely love it. I bought several and I'm planning to do one for fall and one for Christmas. So when you find these, I suggest you pick up a couple because you can only get them this time of year and they do go quick. So keep your eyes peeled for the tinsel witch's hat from Dollar Tree. Absolutely adorable. Oh my goodness, that was so fun. What a great collection of Halloween wreath tutorials. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, please leave me a ghost emoji in the comment section below and let me know which wreath was your favorite. I'm so excited that we're entering my favorite time of year. I love to craft for the holidays. I love fall and Halloween and Christmas, of course. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorials. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and show your love by leaving a comment and sharing this video with your friends. I hope you have a creative day. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you in the next video.